Hey guys, Jake Oback Knives. This is the last installment of the Warhorse run. I had one mini extra that I decided to do a custom on. So I went a little nuts with it. Okay, so we had a mess up and I lost the blade for this one originally. The blade got messed up. So instead of making a new one out of M4, I had a chunk of CPM REX 121, which is extremely difficult to find and source a piece of, and extremely difficult to work with. In its annealed state, I think it rockles at like 54 or something like that, which is still pretty hard for being annealed. And when it hardened out to 70.5 Rockwell, which is amazingly hard. So this stuff, you finish it before you heat treat it, because there ain't no touching it with just about anything after you get done, unless you use ceramic for everything. I did a carbon fiber kind of inlay bolsters, double bolster, both sides. One off springy clip. And the finish is a light orange peel with a really, really dark charcoal kind of gray finish to it, tumbled finish on the tie. Turned out pretty good. It matches the blade really well. The blade is an acid stone wash with a vibratory tumble. A little different than I normally do, but I'm really starting to like how smooth it makes everything. It just knocks all the edges down and makes them really comfortable. And lightning powered. Slicker than greased owl turds. Oh, and obviously it's a little different. I did a swedge and this giant thumb hole, which I thought turned out really cool. I may have to do something like this on some of my A series. And the back of it is kind of got a bone breaker set up. It's chamfered on both sides of the edge. Sorry, you probably cannot see that. It's in the pictures. They'll be on Alpha Hunter Tactical's forum. I've been moving over to about a mid lockup on most of my knives. I'm really finding that I don't like the fact that if you have a super early lockup, there's some chances sometimes that your finger can catch the lock and open it, or you can get lock bounce and it won't engage fully. So I've been switching over to a little later lockup. I really think that's going to help. And plus, I build these to be broken in before you get them, so they shouldn't move much at all. With the carbidizing, the lock should be just fine. A little different on the inlay. I wanted you to be able to take the knife apart without having to pull the inlay out, so I notched the inlay so that you could pull those screws out and pull the frame apart without having to yank that off, which I think is just kind of a convenience thing when you need to clean it. So like I said, CPM REX 121, killer stuff. Finally sourced a piece of it from Aldo over at New Jersey Steel Baron. These guys are good friends. And they finally hooked me up with a good piece of that, so I've been playing around with it, done a beta 5 on it, but this stuff is killer. Now, something to keep in mind, this Rockwell is at 70.5. That's super hard. The stuff is fairly tough, but honestly, you have to take it into consideration. It is 70.5, so you don't want to be like using this thing as a screwdriver. It will break. Well, not so much break as chip out the edge real bad. I wanted this to be a super slicer. The blade is, I think it's 150, 160 thousandths thick. It's a little thinner than the rest of the Warhorses, but it was the stock that I had. And I took it to a 0 edge. And when I put an edge on this thing, it is freaking cut atoms in half. It's just 0 edge to I brought it back to a 15 on both sides, just about 15, because I do it by hand. So this thing is going to be a slicer and it'll last forever. Check out some of the videos I've got up on the beta 5 testing with this same steel. I put a pretty thin edge on that also, and no chipping through batoning it and everything like that. And I sent that knife off to New Jersey Steel Baron, and Pete and Aldo were over there chopping 16 penny nails in half with it, so it holds up pretty good. I believe this steel was made to compete with carbide. Once you get past the cobalt steels in end mills and stuff like that, Crucible was trying to build a steel that competed with carbide nose to nose. So I don't know if they totally succeeded. I've never ground a carbide blade. Maybe I'll have to try it someday. But there you go, guys. This one will probably be up for sale here pretty shortly, so look for it. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. God bless.